Moose. Welcome everybody to the third episode of The Moose.
Moose!
And now we are here after a guest lecture from Professor Richard Wiseman, a former hobby magician, is it right? And of course a psychologist from the University of Hertfordshire.
That's right, in the UK. Yep.
Yes, you presented some inputs from your latest book. It's called
Paranormality.
Yeah. Thank you. And I want to ask you, what's the connection between a former magician and psychology and paranormality?
Well, there's lots of connections.
Yeah.
Obviously, magicians have to understand how people think in order to fool them. And so, if you're a magician, you're on stage thinking, I wonder what the audience are thinking, and then making the trick happen. And so they're being good psychologists. They're doing every magic trick is like a little experiment where you think this will fool an audience. If it does, then your experiment's been successful. So that's why I got into psychology. And then parapsychology or paranormal was sort of by natural lead on, because obviously magicians are producing paranormal phenomena, and so the question for me is, were these things genuine? Would the ghosts really exist? Can scientists do these amazing things, or are they tricks? And in the book I describe how I think they're tricks, albeit fascinating tricks.
Okay, and that's also the way you came from magician to psychology.
Absolutely. I used to be doing magic, and then I became a psychologist, and then I started to specialise in paranormal, so investigating haunted houses and ghosts and mediums.
One of my favorite experiments you described in your former books was, let's come back to the ghosts, when you go in old buildings, large rooms and so on, that there is some infrasound which has an effect on your mind somehow. So you say, I don't have, there is probably a comfortable feeling when I go to lecture, but it doesn't come from ghosts.
Yeah, yes, that's quite possible. So infrasound is very low frequency sound waves. And it can be caused by traffic rumbling past, the wind on an open window in certain structures. And it vibrates the body, and you don't know about it. And of course, if you're in a haunted location and suddenly you feel very strange, you think it's the ghost. So that's the sort of work that I do. It's trying to get some science behind these experiences.
Yeah, I had some possibilities to read a little bit in your book, your new book, just the introduction and so on. And you presented some interesting findings about the dog. Which everybody thought he could predict when its master comes home and so on, but it obviously couldn't, the dog. So are there any other animals you also observed which had paranormal abilities?
There was a cat. There was a cat that worked in a hospital. It didn't work in a hospital, it lived in a hospital. And the idea was that when the cat jumped onto your bed, that meant you were going to die.
Oh.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. So it was a psychic death cat. So we investigated the psychic death cat, and it turned out that what people were doing were just remembering the times the cat jumped onto the bed and someone died, and forgetting the times it jumped onto the bed and the person was fine. So it was psychology at work. The cat wasn't actually predicting the death of people or causing the death.
Yeah, okay. So there were also kind of patterns people saw which weren't really there. Can you say this in this kind of?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So we're very good at seeing patterns. We're very good at putting two and two together and normally getting four.
Yeah.
But some of the time that kind of goes wrong when we see patterns that aren't actually there. So we end up thinking our dreams can predict the future, and of course we're forgetting all the times our dreams don't predict the future. So that's basically what it talks about.
Are there any projects you're currently working on?
I'm working on two projects. One, they're both secret, unfortunately, but they're very, very soon. One will launch in the middle of March. It's a huge mass participation experiment all over the world using the iPhone. And it's a very, very weird experiment. So that will come out in, my goodness, about a month's time. So we're very excited about that.
Okay, so we are looking forward for this experiment. Thank you for watching the Moose episode for this week, and see you soon. Bye.